20 years ago. And that makes it safe.
Oh, no question.
And again, this is the kind of programming that television, national television seems to be this escapist type.
It's reminiscent of television in its early days, when indeed there was certainly a race problem in those days. It wasn't out in the street. It wasn't loud in our ears. It wasn't infesting our gut, our conscious gut as it is today. But by God, there was anguish amongst minorities then as there is now.
I remember that play you wrote, The Town Turned.
Oh, yeah, well, you see, then you assaulted the straw men who were acceptable as minority groups. Mexicans, American Indians, Eskimos, beaten down, downtrodden peasants under the Tsar. These were the minorities, but not the Negro. Now, consequently, I think the purpose, the point of a dramatic show, which is used as a vehicle of social criticism, is to involve an audience, to show them wherein their guilt lies, or at least, indeed, their association. But when you're talking about a bunch of cavalrymen knocking off a bunch of poor redskins and putting them into a reservation, the audience need to have no association, certainly no guilt. How many Indians have they pushed into a reservation? But if indeed you talk about a denial of a man putting his garbage can next to yours, whether he's fought in Vietnam or wherever, by virtue of his color, now you're getting into a universal guilt, which they should feel, or at least in part understand.
You can extend that and dilate around a very important word that I think that you use, Rod, this word involvement. How much is an audience caught up in a particular show or a particular situation shown on television? And I would maintain that very rarely is there any intimacy of involvement with anything that one sees on television, or sense of identification. It doesn't have to be social commentary. It can be any kind of show which allows one to participate in any kind of an insightful situation. I think, as a writer, I'm interested in images and the memorability of things. I know lines of poetry, some stray random lines that I remember because they're just so good. You know, of the images I can remember from television shows, there are very, very few, because it's not intended to be memorable. Most of it, it's intended to flush right out.
Right.
You see it, it has no memory value. And this is really not contributing to a person's individual being.
Well, that's when I talked about I think the incredible lack of a body of literature that could evolve from this medium, which is certainly as exciting, as far-reaching, as immediate as any art form we've ever had. And yet, when you start looking back at the so-called memorable moments, they are few and far between.
Well, I know people like Marshall